Hi, I'm Steve Millard with the Greater Akron Chamber. Thanks for tuning in to this video. We have put this together to help folks who are applying for the Summit County COVID-19 Small Business Emergency Relief Grant Program to work through the application. We know sometimes the questions on applications are unclear, or folks have a little hesitancy to step in and start applying right away without getting a little guidance. So Brian Anderson, who is our Director of Research at the Chamber and also has been the guru behind building the application and the survey tools that we're using to collect information for the grant, is going to walk you through each of the questions. We're going to provide some commentary. There may be some additional thoughts and comments we can make to make it as easy as possible for you to apply for this program. So with that, Brian, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you walk us through it.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. And thanks all for joining us. What I'm going to do is walk through the entire application process and give a little commentary, help you navigate the application, maybe answer a few questions along the way. I'm going to try to strike the right balance of giving you more information, but not to make this video too long. So my colleagues might interrupt me once or twice along the way and add a few recommendations. But to get started, please see that we are on our website, gaccovid19.org, on a grant program tab, where we have an overview of the grant program, guidelines, eligibility criteria, and frequently asked questions as well. So we do have the site set up for some information as you're going through the program if you have questions. But importantly, we are always available through covidgrant@greaterakronchamber.org, an email address that send in questions if you have them, and we'll get back to you as quickly as we can. Pretty clearly at the top here, round 3 application, regardless of the size of your business, we're all going to use the same application. So go ahead and click here and get started. So the first page of the application is just a welcome message. And again, the URL that I just showed you with the grant program guidelines and the frequently asked questions is here. The email address that we have set up to answer questions as you might have them is posted right here at the top. So don't hesitate to let us know if you have any trouble. Just a notification that you may not be able to leave the application halfway through and come back to where you left off. So try to block off at least 20 minutes to go through the application in one sitting, just to ensure a smooth process for yourself. And in order to help you do that, we have at the very beginning here listed all of the questions that we're about to ask you, so that you can, before you start, have everything prepared and you can, again, do it all at once. But without further ado, let's get started. So first things first, name of your business. I'm going to go ahead and, so I've got Crying Brian's Daycare, LLC. That's the legal name of my business. If I have a trade name or a DBA, maybe my business is known as Crying Daycare. See the legal address of my business, should say 123 Main Street, Akron, Ohio, 44308. Now, some of your businesses may have a separate legal address where your headquarters might be, or where you're filed with the Secretary of State. You might have a separate location where the majority of your business is conducted. So if you just have one location for your business, just click no, that your primary place of business is not different. If you do have a separate location, click yes, and then we'll ask you for separately where is the majority of your business conducted. So that might be just a different address here. And these program guidelines are written such that if either your legal or your primary place of business is located within Summit County, then you are eligible for this program. And so this is a good example to show you that as I try to advance, I forgot to fill in this field. So just a reminder, we've got to fill in all the fields before we advance. And just to be clear, you see these back buttons. You will have an opportunity throughout the entire application to go back, review your answers, and correct anything if you need to throughout the process. Okay, here, contact information for the primary applicant. I'm going to put in my own information. And this is who is going to be, again, the primary contact for the applicant. And so if I'm submitting this application, but I want my colleague to be the one contacted, then I'll put their contact information in. The email address is one of the most important components of the application. This is how we will contact our applicants if we need to gather additional information, or if we need to tell you that we're going to award your application. So to the extent possible, we want to get a unique email address that's not tied to the general business info account, but really an individual's email address. So I'm going to put in my own email address here, so that this will help avoid spam filters, or it'll help avoid notifications going into my junk folder. But I also am going to make sure that I check my inbox. I'm going to check my spam folder just in case notifications and updates about this grant program get filtered in there. We are asking for the contact information for business owners of my business that have at least a 20% interest in the business. So if Crying Brian's Daycare, if I have two partners and we each have we have three total people with more than 20% interest. So I'll indicate that we have three people, and you'll see that below we're going to ask for the contact information for each of those individuals. Just to make this a little bit easier, we'll just indicate one. So maybe I guess my business only has one, 123 Fake Street. All right, so we've got our business owner information in there. Now, more information about your business itself. So we need the 9-digit employee identification number for your business. Now, if you are structured as a sole proprietorship, or if your business does not have its own EIN, then we need the Social Security number of the primary business applicant. So let's go here. Next, we need the first 3 digits of your NAICS business code. So the NAICS code that determines it specifies which industry your business operates in. Those codes can be up to 6 digits long. We're only looking for the first 3 digits there. Now, if you don't know what your NAICS code is, no problem. You can simply just Google NAICS code and then a key term that describes this. So if you Google NAICS code daycare, it'll pop up. You can also access the Census Bureau site to, again, search for something like daycare here. Okay, great. 6 digits. I only want the first 3, so 624. So let's type in 624. Lastly, on this page, what's the type of my organization? I have an LLC. Let's advance. Oh, see, I did that on purpose. We need 9 digits. We need your full employer identification number. If your number starts with a 0, we need you to start with that 0. So we have 9 full digits here. How many years has my business been in operation? Let's say the daycare opens 10 years ago. And how many years of experience do the business owners have in the industry? And we want to make sure that we use the average if there's multiple owners. So let's say it's, my business is owned by me and one other person. If I have, let's say 2 years experience and my partner, she has 4 years, then the average is 3. So we're going to put in 3 years of experience on average for the ownership of the business. Description of activities. We run a service daycare for kids ages, if I don't have any kids, I assume 4 to 6 is a normal age for daycare. Okay, the number of employees. At this point, we're going to ask for the number of employees in your business, both at the beginning of the pandemic and then more recently. The way that we want you to calculate your number of employees for the purpose of this grant is explained at the top. So who do we want you to count as an employee? First of all, anybody who works for your business, who you consider to be an employee in the sense that we generate a W-2 tax form for them at the end of the year. And if they work generally at least 20 hours a week for you. So anybody who meets those criteria, they're considered an employee. Additionally, anybody who is an independent contractor who you generate a 1099 form for, who typically works at least 20 hours a week for you, we also want you to count them. Lastly, and this is sort of an optional one that you can count if it helps you or not, is the principal owners of the business. So for example, if you have 30 employees that meet this criteria and you're asking yourself, should I count myself as an owner as well? Well, the answer there would be no, because then you'd have 30 plus 1, you'd have 31, and you'd no longer be eligible for the program, as our grant program is only eligible, is only available for businesses with up to 30 employees. So using those criteria, looking back at March 15th, how many employees did my business have? Let's say I had 5 employees, 2 contractors, and myself. So I forgot what numbers I just said. Let's say 8 total. Out of those 8 employees, how many of those were Summit County residents? Let's say there were 7. So for this grant program, the funding is only available for businesses with at least 50% of their employees being Summit County residents. Now, this was at the beginning of the pandemic for our region. So at the beginning of March, we understand that employment has in many cases shifted a lot. So we're asking again, let's say as of September 15th, what are the same employment numbers? So instead of 8, let's say now I'm operating with 6 employees, and maybe all of them are Summit County residents.
So Brian, can I jump in here on a couple?
Yes, please.
It's important. This is a super important question. And if Brian, if you go back up to the top here, the way you calculate your employees is going to be critical, not only for the level of grant you're eligible for, but just to make sure that we're capturing it correctly. So again, anybody who regularly works for at least 20 hours a week is an employee. They're on your payroll. Anybody who independently contracts with you and is regularly working at least 20 hours a week in your business. So what kind of situations are those? Those would be a situation where, let's say that you run a personal services business and you have a spa and you have 3 or 4 massage technicians who are contractors to your business. Maybe they rent a table from you or something like that, but they are part of your operation, or people that maybe style hair for you or something like that. So those would be the kinds of contractors we're looking for here. And then again, as the owner or owners, you can include yourselves in that. These are owners with at least 20% ownership in the business. And that's important as well. The other thing on the timing of this, the calculation of the 50% is really going to be based on the employees that you had at March 15th. We know that folks have laid people off in this process, et cetera. So we don't want to create a penalty there for you there, but some of this is statistical for us so that we can continue to report what's happening to our businesses and to make sure we get as much support as we can to the businesses in the community. So these are critical questions in terms of number of employees that you have.
Thanks, Steve. Now that we have our employee count and Summit County resident employee count taken care of, we can move on to sort of the financial side. So looking for revenue numbers for my business for 2019. Let's say we had $500,000 in revenue. Our expenses might have been $400,000. And out of that $400,000, my payroll might have been $300,000. So now for 2020, we want to estimate our year-to-date operating revenue. So it might not be quite September 30th yet, or you might not have your books cleaned up yet for September, but our estimate is maybe $250,000 through the end of September for this year. Similarly, our expenses, best estimate through the end of September, say also $250,000. Now we're going to estimate how much lost revenue we have due to the pandemic, again, through the end of September for this year. Maybe based on the projections I had at the beginning of the year or comparing to last year, maybe I have a good understanding that, you know, we would have had $200,000 more in revenue if not for the pandemic. And then lastly, how much in increased expenses have we incurred due to the pandemic? So maybe we've you know, brought in a lot of cleaning equipment and to clean our facility a lot, and so we've incurred some extra expense due to the pandemic. Lastly, and this is really helpful for us in understanding the impact of the pandemic on businesses, we're just asking folks to take a little time to explain the impact that the pandemic has had on your business. So, for example, noting the lost revenue and increased expense that I've already indicated. We shut down for several weeks and are paying to clean our facility often. So to the extent that you have time and more information to share, we would absolutely love to hear from you. So any information you can share here will be appreciated.
And I would add to that, this is really important because we are talking again with our policymakers and elected officials about what we're seeing due to COVID. And some of this data was extremely influential in helping Summit County think about what they might need to do to support PPE for businesses. Or certain kinds of businesses, or support other kinds of restart activities. So please take the time to give us a sense of what's happening to your business and what has happened along the way. It will help us help additional businesses and also think about other ways that we can be supportive.
Great. Thanks, Steve. Okay, now we're going to talk about the grant itself. So as is indicated in the program guidelines, there are sort of 3 levels of grant funding available based on your employee size. So for one employee companies, also known as maybe sort of an owner-only firm, solopreneur, the maximum grant size is $2,500. For employees with at least 2 employees but fewer than 11 employees, the max grant amount is $5,000. And for businesses with at least 11 employees and at most 30 employees, the max amount is $7,500 to request. Now, since I had indicated earlier in the application that I had 8 employees on March 15th, then it indicates here that the maximum is $5,000 that I can request, and I'm gonna go ahead and request the full amount there. Here, we're asking how you plan to use the grant funds. So there are eligible business expenses that you can use the grant funds for, which is articulated in the grant program guidelines, which are available on the grant program website that we have already seen. So here I might indicate that I'm going to use these $5,000 hopefully on business rent and insurance payments. Or in your case, it might be payroll, or it might be you know, anything that is a typical deductible business expense. Here we want to know how much money you've received from other local grant programs. There is a cap of $15,000 that a business can receive from other grant programs regarding the funds that are available here in this program. So if you have already received $15,000 or more in total from local grant programs that are related to COVID-19, then you will not be eligible to receive additional funding under this program. But if you have received sort of almost $15,000, then we can fund you through this program sort of up to a total of $15,000. So what we're doing here is we're asking how much you may have received already from several local grant programs. So what we're taking applications for here is sort of the 3rd round of the Summit County COVID-19 Small Business Relief Grant Program. So from previous administrations of that, previous rounds of administering that grant program, we're asking if you've already received money. So for example, maybe I've already received a $5,000 grant from the Summit County program. Nothing from United Way. I our business did not receive money from this program or from Great Streets or from this program. So other, but let's say, for example, I got $5,000 from the Barberton Community Foundation Small Business Grant Program. So I'll put 5,000 for other there. And you may see that this is Barberton CDBG money, and you can indicate here. But what we're going to have here is an area for you to identify the source of Barberton, the source of the other local grant program that you've received funding for. So this will kind of be a catch-all in case you're not sure exactly where to indicate. Now, we need to, just in order for us to ensure applicants complete this section in its entirety, we set up a rule so that each field needs an answer. So just simply indicate 0 if you haven't received any grants from these programs that we've listed. So as you can see, I'm indicating that my business has already received $10,000 in grants from other programs. So as I explained, there's a cap of $15,000 per business. I still have $5,000 that I can apply for, which is what I've requested in my application. As always, if you have any questions need clarification on this, do not hesitate to reach out to us. We've got staff monitoring our email set up for this, and we're happy to help with any questions that come up. So if you receive a grant under this program, we're asking who the check should be made payable to, just to help get our administration set up ahead of time to speed up the process with which we can deliver checks to businesses who are going to be awarded under this program. I'm learning that daycare might be 2 words instead of 1 word, so something to look forward to. All right, so on these yes or no questions, we want to stress the importance of taking your time, reading each question carefully, and definitely reach out if you need any clarification. We don't want applicants to accidentally deem themselves ineligible by answering incorrectly. So let's just take our time here. Is the legal address or primary place of business for your business in Summit County? Yes, it is. Has your business been in operation since before December 16th of 2018? Yes, it has. Is your business a nonprofit organization? No, it's not. And I want to just clarify here that even if my business is unprofitable, even if I'm not turning a profit, certainly I am not structured as a nonprofit. I've already been over it. I have an LLC for-profit business, so no, I am not a nonprofit. Is ownership of my business traded on public stock exchange? No, it is not. Is this business the main source of income for any of its owners? Yes, it is. As of the time of this application submitted, have I permanently closed my business? No. And I want to clarify here that that maybe in my daycare situation, maybe we had temporarily closed, or maybe we're still temporarily closed, but we still plan on reopening once the pandemic clears up, or once the state allows certain things. But no, we have not permanently closed. And looking at this next question, we do intend to continue our business after the pandemic. So whether I'm open today or not, importantly, I haven't permanently closed. I do plan on continuing. Is my business in receivership or bankruptcy? No. Am I current on all my local tax obligations? Yes, I am. And I just want to clarify that. Let's say I owe the county or the city taxes, but if I'm on a payment plan and I'm current on my payment plan, then you're good to go. So you are eligible if you're current on your taxes or your tax payment plan. Is your business a minority-owned, women-owned, veteran-owned, LGBTQ-owned, or other disadvantaged business entity? Yes. So if you say yes to any of those, then indicate yes here. Is your business an entertainment device arcade? No. We have a link to some of these for definitions, which hopefully you can see here. If you need clarification on what the definition of entertainment device arcade is, then you can click here, here, here. Is your business a sexually oriented business? No. Does your business primarily sell tobacco or tobacco related products? No. If you're like a convenience store, a grocery, something like that, and you happen to sell cigarettes or cigars or something in addition to many other products, you're still eligible for funding under this program. If the tobacco or nicotine related product is not the majority of your revenue, then indicate no here. Is your business a financial institution that issues credit or makes loans? No. Okay. Let's advance. And once again, you always have an opportunity throughout the application to go back, review your answers, just sort of double check everything. So because I indicated that yes, my business identifies as some form of disadvantaged business, now a follow-up, it's asking what form of disadvantaged business do I identify with? So let's say I'm a minority-owned business, and now since I indicated that, what is the race or ethnicity of the business owners? Let's say Hispanic or Latinx, and continuing. Okay, so in this next section, we're going to ask you to upload a couple tax forms that we need in order to complete the review and evaluation process of all of our applicants. And just in preparation, we're explaining what we're about to ask you to upload. We need an up-to-date W-9 form. If you do not have a W-9 form or need to complete a new one, we've got a link here that'll pull up a blank PDF that you can fill out. You have to sign it, scan it, and then we'll have a place for you to upload it in just a second. Next, we'll ask for your most recent tax return, either 2019 or 2018 if you don't have 2019. If you can't, or if it's too cumbersome to upload the entire document, just upload the first page of the document, and we'll go from there. If the type of tax form that you use and have uploaded is a 1040 or a 1040 SR, then we'll also ask you to upload your Schedule C. So a feature of the application here, we're first asking for your W-9. And so I'm completing this application on my laptop. You can also complete it on your phone. So whether you have a photograph of the page of your document that's clear and easy for us to read, you can do that on your phone if that's easiest. Or I'm on my laptop, so I have my document. So I'm just going to click and drag it into here, and it uploads automatically like that. Next is our tax return. So in addition to sort of clicking and dragging, I can also click in the box, and it'll sort of pop up a window where I can find the right document and upload it there. So let me just quickly drag and drop that one. What type of tax form did I upload? Let's say that, if I was a solopreneur, I uploaded a 1040. I'm just going to use a 1040 as an example so I can show you the Schedule C upload as well. Because I indicated that I uploaded a 1040, and I'll tell you what year I uploaded. So now it's also going to ask for a Schedule C. If I had uploaded a different type of document, if the 1040 wasn't appropriate for my business, then it won't ask you for a Schedule C. But now this has popped up, and all right, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to accidentally upload my W-9 again. So I just want to show you how to replace a document with a different upload. So I've uploaded my W-9 into the Schedule C area, so I want to undo that. You'll notice that there's no sort of delete or remove button. The way that you replace this document is to simply upload the correct document on top of this, and it'll sort of kick out the old one. So I'm going to drag my Schedule C on top here. All right, so now you can see that the correct form has been uploaded. the old one's been kicked out, we're good to go. Next. So we're pretty much at the end of the application now. We've got a couple notifications to share with all the applicants. Just as a heads up, we might ask you for additional documentation at some point during the evaluation or after the award process if we need to sort of verify additional information. So you've already provided us your at least some of your tax returns. We might have to ask for more at some point. Maybe payroll statements to confirm the employee counts that you've indicated earlier in your application, or potentially other supporting documentation as needed. So yes, I acknowledge that statement. Similarly, some notifications by signing the application, you are indicating that the information you provided is accurate to the best of your knowledge. So please take your time reading through these notifications before you proceed. Just a heads up, it may be clear to many of you, you're applying for a grant that's being funded with public dollars. And so a list of awardees and potential awardees will be shared with municipal leaders in part to confirm the tax status of your business and for other reporting as well. Acknowledge. Lastly, here's a check on to make sure the email address that you provided to us is the best email address possible. So sort of auto-populated. This is the email address that I typed into the application earlier on. So it's showing you again, if you need to go back and make an adjustment, use these back buttons, go make a change, and then you can come back through and finish the application. Please take this time if you'd like to go back through the application and review the full application before advancing to the next screen so that everything's confirmed before you submit. And now this is the last page. Once again, advancing to the next screen will submit your application. After you submit this application, you will not be able to make further changes. So we encourage you to do that now. Once you submit, you'll see that we're showing you a PDF link where you can click and download a copy of the application you submitted, but also we will generate an email that summarizes and confirms submission for the application that you just filled out. Just make sure you've got to indicate that you understand that. We're good to go, and we are going to submit. So just to be clear, this notification at the top, we thank you. Your application has been recorded. And it will take, I think it's usually within 10 minutes, you'll receive an email confirming everything. Got a link to download PDF. And as you see, you can scroll down, see the full application, everything that you submitted. Just to confirm, you can review, see if you happen to have made any mistakes, email us at this email address right here at the top, and we'll work with you to correct any errors that you may have had. Took us about 30 or so minutes, I think, with a lot of talking in between. So hopefully prepare your information, maybe 20 to 30 minutes. You should be able to go through this, and don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you and good luck.
Thanks everybody for spending time with us today on doing the application. Again, if you have questions, COVID grant at greaterakronchamber.org. Good luck with your application. We hope we can help you and your business. Thanks.